in the Link to the Past Randomizer Open League Season 4. Today we have Josh Bittner on the right, representing a deadly case of explosions, versus the enigmatically spelled Goldfish, AU for gold, GH as in tough, O as in women, TI as in indignation. So yeah, that's a mouthful. We'll just call him Goldfish. We are going to be doing um fad keys. I'm not completely up on what that has to do. I believe it's fake All Dungeons key sanity. And we are just about ready to get going. These guys are going to be going live pretty soon. Thank you, Nightbot. Right, the key sanity comes into play. Yeah, right. So the castle tower keys are taken out of that ever-present pool of keys that you got to find. And we find our first small key there, Dark Palace, there in the sanctuary. So both runners taking a different path here. Josh heading up to Uncle, and Goldfish there getting the sanctuary start. It's kind of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other on which one you go for. And Josh gives us a map check to reveal that, in fact, we have not found a single map yet. Ooh, a big key. Ganon's Tower, big key. So yeah, that guessing game is over pretty quick here. Meanwhile, the bush crabs and tree poles not really giving us much. We do find the flippers there. That's going to be something that Goldfish is going to be finding relatively soon. And I didn't quite catch that. I think that was the magic powder there on the lumberjack. You'll have to keep an eye on Josh when he gets up there. Goldfish finding those 10 arrows in the forest there, deciding to leave them be. Now, it's kind of interesting to note that without those flippers... Okay, save and quit after the forest drop down. Perhaps going to check... Yeah, checking Link's house and Uncle straight away here. So yeah, it does look like it was the magic powder in the lumberjack, which is quite interesting. Maybe completely without consequence, but it's something to take note of for sure. So interesting, Goldfish there gets a different tier of tree pull. Instead of hearts, gets the bombs, so is set with 4 bombs right away there. Perhaps the reason he didn't go straight into Kakariko after the forest checks, because he would like to have some bombs for that.
This is fascinating. You have a problem.
I'm going to pick up the flippers here very shortly on the left side, as Josh is heading into Kakariko Village.
Checks are.
Without any bombs, heading into Cack Well, which is a little bit quicker to recheck if you have to come back with bombs.
The key to Mire.
Misery Mire big. Red Rupee. And no bombs, unfortunately, is going to have to jump down there again. Misery Mire small, Misery Mire big. Okay, I guess we're okay to go to Misery Mire. Not for a while, but I guess the keys are all here. Okay, there we have an item, a very important item, the glove in Blind's hideout, along with we found the big key to Eastern Palace over there in on Josh's side. All right, so nothing in the back of Blind's hut. A Goldfish is going to have a little bit more efficient route here in Kakariko. Josh is going to have to kind of clean up some of this stuff that Goldfish is doing right now. And here's the item Josh missed. It was the mirror, so definitely going to have to be picking that one up. Yeah, and I had missed that earlier. Desert Palace big key is also in hand. Given that we have a glove in the mirror, well, that's actually, we're only one more glove away from being able to check the Desert Palace big. With that could end up being in play if we see another I don't know, we would need the flute too. But some of those things, it's important to keep in mind when those big keys show up, and especially those light world dungeons where there's not a lot that's needed to actually progress through the dungeon. It's important to keep in mind how long some of those checks are going to end up being in logic, because that's something that can easily get out of hand in Key Sanity. Have our library check. Another big key. Gonna probably have to come back for that at some point. It could end up being the Tower of Hera big key, Ice Palace big key, or the Swamp Palace big key. I believe those are the ones that we don't need. Skullwoods also. I don't think we need that one. And just a Skullwood small in the race game. Not something that we love to see, since all of the small keys we really need are kind of sitting out there in the open in Skullwoods, but it might make the check of the front a little bit more efficient. So one is not too bad to see. Any more than that, and it's just kind of a waste of a check. Goldfish with the presence of mind to go and buy some bombs, but the absence of mind to forget that that's the fortune teller and not the shop. And both of them completing the foot race in 9 seconds, so this is probably going to be a very close race if that's any indication. Yeah, and so both of our runners here do have Zora money and the flippers, so that's actually a very favorable position for them to be in, just in terms of getting those flippers checks out of the way early. We see Josh opting to head first into the back of Escape. There's going to be 3 checks just ripe for the picking out here, and Goldfish finds the gold mitts underneath the bridge, so that's we are Pearl away from Dark World access on that side. Meanwhile, Josh finds a small key to Pod, a small key to Ganon's Tower, and the flute. So, yeah, both runners coming up big in different ways here. I would say they're both eventually going to get to each other's items, but It's going to be interesting to see if that flute with the logical mountain access is going to see Josh go up there. I could see that happening before he picks up the mitts, especially if Hookshot's hanging out in, say, Mini Moldorm Cave or something. Misery Mire Small. It's another useless small key we don't really need. Josh, meanwhile, going over to activate that flute. Yeah, that flute was a really, really good find. Finding the flute that early in a check that you can conceivably put off for a little while is kind of nice, because it lets you. It's a rare circumstance where it lets you route some of the early game checks with the flute. For example, now Josh would be able to simply flute down to 7 and check Dam and Mini Moldorm Cave right away. Reduces the travel time quite a bit. Opting to go to Link's house. Probably going to do the same thing that Goldfish was doing over there and taking a little dip and doing those flipper checks first. GT small on Zora Ledge. Not the best. We now have seen 2 Ganon Sour small keys, which is all we need. Josh about to pick up his mitts here. Very good on his part that he didn't put Hobo off too long. So Goldfish is now giving us a look at the Ice Rod Cave. Not sure what Josh is fishing for here. Either way, Josh is going to go ahead and do the South Shore here, and Goldfish is going to go find the flute. Back of Escape is actually a pretty nice place to find the flute, regardless, just because you have the you're going to be saving and quitting out of here anyway, so you might as well save and quit and turn that flute in right away. You don't have to worry about, okay, well, how long do I do it in favor of, picking up some other checks along the way. There's really nothing else to do other than save and quit out of there, so you just take that flute and run. So it'll be interesting to see. As I sort of alluded to before, we have seen both the flute and the second glove upgrade show up. So our progression, there could be progression in Desert Palace Big Chest, because we do have access to that now with the mitts, flute, and the mirror. Another option would be to go up the mountain, but there's not a whole lot waiting for us up there just yet without any way to really get over to the east side of Death Mountain. We would need the hammer or the hook shot for that. Yeah, so Josh is going to go ahead and finish these South Shore checks, getting that Ice Rod Cave. And yeah, so Goldfish here is going to go over here and check out the mire area. Unfortunately, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be able to set up any sort of Super Bunny to check Mire Shed. We do have a logical checkerboard cave in play, though. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him do that before finishing out this area. TR small? Hey, that's something we need quite a few of. It is kind of one of the sort of key features of Key Sanity is the fact that you do kind of have to be pretty exhaustive in your search. So it's in the end it does come down a little bit to your routing. But depending on how the items play out, it can end up being very, very execution heavy. Just in terms of, okay, the only way you can save time is to just not lose time. We did see the lamp on the torch. So lamp is locked by boots, which is kind of a weird logical implication. The desert palace itself is not in any way boots locked. Unless, of course, fire rod is on the boss. In which case we need the boots in order to get the fire in order to get to the boss. But, yeah, and Goldfish not being able to check those chests, can't open chests in bunny form, unfortunately. Skull Woods Small. So the logical checkerboard cave is not so great for us here. So now Goldfish is probably going to go down and check Agina's cave. There is technically the option of oh no, we do have the desert small. So yeah. I don't recall if we saw Goldfish go and do the right-hand side of desert. It might have been that only Josh picked up that small key, but I don't really think we had too much difference in which way our runners had gone here. Either way, Josh is heading over there right now, and Goldfish is heading up the mountain. So yeah, at this point, it's you kind of have two options of where you're really going to go after this. You can either go up the mountain. You've got a couple checks. You've got Tower of Hera that's open. You've got um, basically all of the left-hand side available. And your other option would be to go to Sahasrara and Eastern Palace, which is a little bit less bang for your buck in terms of time. It takes a little while to do. We don't have bows, so we can't clear the dungeon. We're also missing, the big keys and such. And it's very possible that the hammer is hanging out up here, in which case, we'd be... Goldfish is going to be really happy to see that. But it's just as possible that it's, in Saha's closet there. And that's the place to check next. It's kind of a toss-up which way you go. I would say that it's more reasonable to check the mountain at this point. So now we're going to see where Josh decides to go. Is he going to follow Goldfish up the mountain, or is he going to head to Eastern? Up the mountain. Yeah, I would say that that this is sort of the more sensible play. I don't think we saw Tower of Hera big, and we can't do the Hera pot. I could be wrong about which key we saw. It's a little hard to keep track sometimes in Key Sanity, but it is 2 free checks that are open anyway, and we find the shovel. That's going to be something that can be used. And Goldfish opting to walk out rather than using the mirror, which probably would have saved a little bit of time, but it's kind of negligible either way. We're going to take that shovel and probably turn that in right away, I would imagine. And we did get a bottle, so we can check Sick Kid now. And so far, we've seen 2 items that are potentially useful being boots locked here. There's a big key of some sort in the library and the lamp, which is logically required to complete the seed on Desert Torch. So I wonder if that's a hint towards early boots. Not necessarily. We do find the Moon Pearl, though, hidden underneath, and that is Dark World access, so that's exciting. And so Goldfish has Dark World access probably a good couple minutes ahead of Josh here. As Josh is going to have to make his way through Tower of Hera, up to Tower of Hera, going to have to do the runaround and get that Moon Pearl himself. Yeah, so as Goldfish heads into Thieves Town here, we do have excuse me, it's not just the time lead that Goldfish has over Josh. It's also the fact that Josh stole that Desert Palace small key. You can take the small key out of the back, but that means that you can't get all the way back to the boss without finding the other Desert Small somewhere in the world. So if that doesn't show up, that could end up biting Josh really hard, especially since the play for that side of Desert didn't really pan out. So that's Josh is behind and also playing with fire a little bit. plenty of seed left, so we'll really have to see how this plays out. And meanwhile, we do see our first medallion over on Goldfish's side, so that's going to give us logical access to the first check, at least in Ice Palace. Possibly more. I forget what's all in logic and out of logic in that dungeon sometimes. There's quite a bit you can't get to without the hammer, so that's going to be something that they're probably going to want to see before they decide to dive in there. Another Skullwood Small. Meanwhile, instead of the Dark World play, we're seeing Josh head over towards the Eastern Palace area. This is kind of... there's two different things going on here. So Josh is prioritizing the checks that have been in logic a long time versus Goldfish sort of following the chain of logic. You know, okay, I unlocked this, now let's go deeper on that tree. Josh is kind of clearing out some of these earlier branches that have been available for a while. And neither way is really better than the other, but there's always that chance that the say a good item like the hammer's been hanging out for a while, just there in the back of Sahasrah's closet there. We do see the blue mail show up, which is something that's really nice to see since we're still on pretty low health here. And Josh also making the backtrack to Meyer here to check Meyer's shed. As Goldfish picks up that frog. A third sword upgrade, so that's really nice to see. Gonna hopefully... That might end up saving Josh some time, because Goldfish might not get to that for a little while. Having, you know, already cleared out sort of the rest of that area isn't really going to have a reason to return until, you know, unless, you know, he ends up doing the same thing that Josh just did and just checks it just in case. But, you know, we don't have access to Meyer. I didn't notice exactly what Meyer access was. Is it Bombos or is it something else? Quake. All right. Thank you, chat, for helping me out there. And we're also seeing Josh head straight into Skull Woods to do those checks. This is something that I think is a little more meta, so to speak. Just checking the front of Skull Woods, treating it as overworld checks. Especially when you have Mitt's Dark World access, it's a pretty reasonable play. And with as many Skullwood Smalls as we've been seeing, yeah, we're seeing a lot of Skullwoods, a lot of Misery Mire Smalls. Those small keys aren't generally really big ticket items. And I don't play enough Key Sanity myself to know if that really has any implications, that many showing up like that. Really all it does in Skull Woods is it kind of prevents soft locks. We're still waiting on a couple big dungeon progress items. We've got no fire source. We need the hammer. We need the bow. There's the fire rod there in sort of French vanilla fire rod there in Skull Woods. So that's actually going to be a clear for Josh if he feels up to it. He doesn't have that blue mail, and he only has 5 hearts. So it's kind of I'm not gonna mince words. It's a rough fight in this circumstance, but it's possible. And it looks like either he's going to just take care of this. Nope, he's going straight for the back. So yeah, this is going to be a tough fight. It has the potential to go very wrong, but you know, we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, the Goldfish clearing out that Dark World overworld, heading to Hype Cave here. BP5 checks here. Those are some vanilla bombs. Ice Palace small, that's useful. And not much else to write home about. Yeah, so far we're getting pretty far into these checks that are available to us, and coming up pretty empty. We're gonna have to start making some less obvious decisions pretty soon. Interesting play to go to Swamp Palace here. It takes a long time to actually enter Swamp Palace, because you have to, every time you do it, you have to, make this trip into the dam and pull this out. And right now, without the hammer, we only have one check available to us in Logic here. Meanwhile, Josh is fighting Moth here. Out of magic for the Fire Rod. Has to get that potion ready. And manages to take it down. That is a not insubstantial victory there. Making sure you get that done is actually pretty good. Gets the green pendant for his trouble. Kind of unfortunate that he already made the had he made the play to, yeah, he did make the play to go to Sahasrara, so he'll have to retread some ground there, but could be a big find there. And now we have Goldfish heading back to the Woods de la Skull. About to find his Fire Rod and have to make the arguably tougher decision of whether or not he wants to do it with the Master Sword. Master Sword isn't as bad as Fighter Sword. Fighter Sword is pretty rough. Tempered Sword is actually kind of deceiving, because a Tempered Sword spin actually doesn't do any damage to the Moth. Notably, we did find the Thieves' Town small, which does have some implications in whether or not we check the big chest there. Yeah, the great irony of this is Josh actually stole that small key, so isn't going to be able to take that Fire Rod and clear Desert Palace here right away. Goldfish is going to have the option of doing that. I don't know if it would be the correct play in any circumstance, but even with a fire source now, Josh still has to find the Desert Small to be able to clear that dungeon. Goldfish there using the Bombos medallion there for just a little bit of consistency. It probably saves time overall over a slow clear of that room. Meanwhile, Josh exiting the woods heads to probably the North Dark World overworld checks. Yeah, so this is going to be some new checks here. Got a Graveyard Ledge. Probably going to take it all the way to Catfish if I had to guess. It's kind of a check that's often kind of tough to route in, and this is kind of one of the only good ways to do it. It is also worth noting that since this is faux AD keys and the Castle Tower keys are in their vanilla Castle Tower locations, knowing that the magic powder is on the Lumberjack, And the lamp is locked by the boots. That could very well mean that the boots get the lamp, put Aga 1 into logical access, which means that we can get the powder, which can hide an item on bat. Could be the hammer. Not saying anything either way, but it could. We could have hammer on bat, which would be pretty gross, especially if the boots take their time showing up. Meanwhile, Josh doesn't end up going over to Catfish, so we'll see if Goldfish decides to do that. Yeah, El Rocco in chat makes a good point. Save scumming that desert key is it can waste a little bit of time, so to speak, but it's a safer option than relying on that desert key to show up. Early in the seed, it seems like it's, you know, I'm sure it'll show up at some point, but the closer you get to the end, the more sweaty you really start to get, you know. Now, I don't believe we saw the Thieves Town big key yet, so Josh is going to have to just check the front here and dip out, same as Goldfish did. Which is kind of nice since we don't have the hammer yet. It's kind of, you kind of want to have the hammer if you're going to go deep into Thieves Town. Oh yeah, Wallkick's pointing out that if desert is not a crystal, then it's possible for that desert small key to be in Ganon's tower, which would be, yeah, that would be not good for Josh here. Yeah, so it looks now like Josh is kind of pulling ahead of Goldfish here. Goldfish ended up taking some time loss to a Wallmaster, and Josh is kind of now catching up to the... hasn't done those South Dark World checks yet, but overall in terms of checks done, they're equitable. Not necessarily even, but equitable. Josh has done a couple that Goldfish has not. None of them have been super impactful. Goldfish having a rough time here with Mothula. Wants to charge up that that sword for the extra damage, but it's just not. You leave yourself really open to those spikes if you do that. He does have a fairy. And he manages to get that last hit off, so worst case scenario averted here. And now we're 1-1 for dungeons cleared. Yeah, Josh equipping the mirror, probably going to do the smith chain here. Kind of makes sense given, you know, the overworld checks you've got to do. You don't have the boots, so picking up the purple chest and walking it all the way down there doesn't really lose that much time. And while you could just mirror and then use the flute to fly down there, that sort of precludes you from getting Hype Cave since we don't have the hammer to take the portal there. So it's kind of, and unfortunately, the best way to sort of route these checks in. It's slow, but it's kind of the best way to do it. So Goldfish actually taking a suboptimal route out of the out of Skull Woods there to check Bumper Cave Ledge. going to wrap around the top here now, just like Josh did earlier. And now we're going to see if he decides to go all the way over to catfish. All right, so now is Goldfish going to go over to catfish? He does go back to the Dark World. So that tells me that it's probable. There's not really much reason to come back to the Dark World at this point. Unless you're going to continue east, which he does. Yeah, so this is kind of one of the only nice ways to route that catfish check-in. It's still kind of not nice, given that you kind of have to do the whole runaround to get to it. But at this point, there's no more overworld for Goldfish to check. It's really just catfish, pyramid, and then, you know, into pod. You know, without bow or bow, but bow or hammer. So not a lot available in pod, but there's not a lot left in the seed for us to check. We're still waiting on hammer or hookshot to show up to check east and Dark Death Mountain. We haven't taken an Eastern Palace dip yet. With the mirror, though, you do that right after pod. And, you know, we're kind of up against, you know, our last couple checks that we can even do here. Though there is also that first chest in Ice Palace. That's kind of the worst case scenario, is for a hard progression to be locked in there. Because that's kind of last location gold right there. Ice Palace with our current loadout is pretty undesirable. And on the pyramid ledge, we have the hook shot. Okay, so this is big for Goldfish here. Josh is kind of taking a roundabout path here. Has to check Hype Cave, it seems, yeah. But that hook shot opens up a lot. You could almost be forgiven for just bailing on the pod eastern area and just heading straight back up the mountain, because there's a lot of checks that just opened up back there. But looks like he's going to let this one ride out. Going to turn in that green pendant that we got from Skull Woods and check the back, something that Josh did earlier. Okay, Josh deciding to check the pyramid first. We'll see if he decides to double back and go to pod after finding that hook shot there. kind of will depend on how much time he feels he needs to save up, because it really does feel pretty slow going back to pod from here. Just the overworld movement routing feels kind of inefficient just as you're doing it. Meanwhile, 50 rupees in the first chest in pod. And I believe that... No, we do have some, because of key sanity, we have 3 small keys, so we can get some places. I don't recall what Goldfish has in his bottles, but if he has anything in his bottles, he should be able to do the camera unlock glitch here and get past those mimics. Looks like Josh is also going to be following suit and heading into pod and eastern. It's a much more defensible play in something like Key Sanity, where progression in dungeons is often a lot less clean, and you're often going to have to make some required double dips into dungeons quite frequently. So sort of a 2-for-1, even if you can't clear them, is still pretty nice. So far, nothing huge to be found in Palace of Darkness. Another bottle with a B in it. I sort of take back what I said earlier. A B would not have been particularly useful in the camera unlock. We have one last small key that's going to let us get to the back. We can't open the maze. It's not in logic anyway without the lamp, but it does lock a couple of items from us. Josh having a little bit of trouble, ends up with those mimics kind of synced together. He does get it done. Goldfish finds a piece of heart in the back, is gonna check these 2 basement chests blind. Alright, these are in logic though, because that fire rod is there, and he's going to do it not blind at all. We do find another pod small there. And we do find the Hyrule Castle small. So that small key, I don't know if that has logical implications in Key Sanity or not. That's the key that you usually get in the sewer escape sequence. I don't really think that really makes much difference to these runners here. Goldfish setting up for the hammer yump. Has nothing to do with the hammer, but in NMG, that's usually what you get from it, so... Doesn't quite get it. That's a lot of buffers for not much gain. The big advantage of doing this skip here is you can get that big chest. I don't recall if we found the pod big, but you can go backwards and get the 2 chests in the dark maze without having to spend your key, which we do need to clear the dungeon later on once we found the hammer. That means that we don't have to rely on finding another one before the end of the seed. which, to bring anybody else up to speed who was missing the beginning of this race, Josh stole the desert key, the desert small key. So he's going to have to find one before the before this seed is over. So yeah, here we see Josh's philosophy in full force here. Decides to spend that key. He's now relying on 2 dungeon keys to show up before he can clear them. He's gonna need one for pod and one for desert. Pod is a little. I mean, we've already seen a lot of pod small keys, so I'm not sure exactly how many are left. But he's for sure there's only 1 desert small in the pool, so. It's kind of a little bit of a risk he's taken there. And once again, he's not really rewarded for his efforts there. He is somewhat rewarded, though, by the fact that Goldfish is still going for that jump there. This is not a trivial bomb jump to get, but it's he's really stretching how useful it could potentially be. He's gonna almost be more distraught than Josh was that there's not much in there. So Josh played it fast and loose with his keys, so he's now locked into needing another key. But Goldfish spent a lot of time on that check. And so Josh decides to go up the mountain rather than going into Eastern Palace. This kind of makes sense. Eastern Palace is slow. Not a lot of checks are available logically. We need the bow to clear it. We need the lamp to logically access the chest in the back. It's just a slow bunch of checks. Not when we've got all this stuff on the mountain that's available. And Goldfish is going in, so we are going to see what's in here. We're getting the mother load room in Paradox Cave here. And if you're Josh, you're thinking there's got to be something up here. Even without this, we've got Hookshot Cave open. There's Quake. That gives us access to Misery Mire. With the Hookshot, we can actually enter that dungeon right now. We can't clear it without the Cane of Samaria, but Misery Mire is actually a much richer dungeon in Key Sanity than it is in non-Key Sanity. It goes from 2 checks to quite a bit more than that. I'm not quite up on exactly how many there are in Key Sanity. I'm sure somebody in chat knows. There's our Tower of Hera big. So that's going to actually be pretty nice for Goldfish when he's going back up the mountain, because he's going to be able to go and finish off Tower of Hera. Actually, so is Josh, because they have the Hookshot now, so they'll be able to Hera pot. We'll be able to pick up the big chest, though, which is something Josh will be unable to do. Yeah, chat's got my back. 8 Mire checks. So that's actually pretty significant that Quake is showing up there for Goldfish. You could almost say it would be worth it to check Mire before going up the mountain. Almost. Not quite. And there's the Swamp Small in the Eastern Palace big chest. I guess we did have the Eastern Palace big key. I kind of do remember that showing up now that I think of it. So that's a good find. We can now access more of Swamp Palace than we could before, which was none of it. Yeah, and so far, the mountain not being too kind to Josh there. We do see Bombos for TR entry. But now we've got Hookshot Cave, which is going to hopefully hold a lot. It's at the very least got 4 things in here. TR small. And there's our mushroom. So this is an opportunity now. A goldfish found the mushroom in... Okay, well, actually, what... So, interestingly enough, there is no logical fake powder. Not that fake powder is ever logical. He's not even going to save scum it. That's a little bit sad, I think. Because we do know that the powder is locked behind doing Aga, which actually in all dungeons isn't too big of a time investment if you're going to do it early. Yeah, it's just a key to Turtle Rock. I don't know if we need all the keys in Turtle Rock. Because we can steal one if we go in there with go mode. All in all, I would have said that it might have been worth it to fake powder. But I guess we'll see. We do know that at some point those boots have got to show up. So if we really need to check the powder, I guess we can do that later. But yeah, still nothing showing up on the mountain. Yeah, it does make sense that he took that, given how long it would take for to set up fake powder here. Given that we'd need to find the Cane of Samaria first. So all in all, it's not too big of an issue. We do see now Goldfish is going up. He's gonna finish Tower of Hera, and Josh is gonna be finding that Quake medallion and finding the Tower of Hera big key. I wouldn't be surprised to see Josh head to Meyer after this, with that Quake showing up. We'll also want to keep our eyes on what is sitting here in Tower of Hera. There's the book showing up in the Tower of Hera. So that's actually really nice positioning for that, because then you can just pop right out and check the tablet on your way out. And I don't know if we have prize information for Tower of Hera yet. But at the very least, we know that the green pendant has already been found, so no single dungeon here can lead to another check on its own. At the very least, we need to find the 5 and 6 crystals. And that is going to do it for Tower of Hera. And we get the blue cane. That does put Spike Cave in logic for us. We get our second pendant. We're only 1 pendant away from a ped check here. And now Goldfish is going to go check the book here on the tablet. Oh yeah, that's true. Vortex correcting me. We still need the hammer. It's an hour in and we don't have it yet. It's a little bit easy to let those things kind of slip the mind a little bit. But yeah, the hammer didn't show up anywhere else on the mountain either. So we're gonna have to see where it ends up. I really feel like the play here for Josh is to go to Meyer. He's gonna check that mushroom first. And Josh, I think Josh is going for the castle escape sequence. So this is going to be a long couple of checks, but it's possible for the boots to be hiding down here. All of this stuff is in logic now, because we have found the small key. Coming up on our next check for the escape sequence. There's the ice rod, so that's if there isn't progression in Zelda's cell, it's a pretty nice find for Josh, because even if Goldfish finds the progression without having to invest the time into this, is gonna be able to go a long time without doing it. And we have our big key of this dungeon and the fire shield. So yeah, the only thing needed down here is the ice rod, which is something that could get put off for a long time. We'll have to see when Goldfish decides to to head down to the escape sequence. Meanwhile, Goldfish just has the hookshot cave here to do, and then kind of has to decide what to do next, because he's got Tower of Hera cleared. I would expect probably a Meyer play. Of course, I expected that from Josh too, so you know he could just do Castle Escape too. All right, so where does Josh go now? Goes to pick up some potions first. But then where does he go? Back up the mountain to do Tower of Hera. Yeah, this is kind of a prickly seed to try and figure out where you want to go. This is the third time I think that Josh has been up the mountain. Maybe only the second for him. And meanwhile, Goldfish heading over to Mire area is gonna find. I'm trying to remember where that third sword showed up for Josh. Yeah, and that is another thing that's probably going to be keeping Josh away from Mire is the lack of that Desert Small, which he now needs. He can't sort of combine those two together. He can't do the Desert Clear with the Mire check. We're getting our third boss over there for Goldfish. We got some snakes. Now, I don't think we know what the desert reward is, but if this is our third pendant, that might be really bad news for Josh, because that means that that Desert Small key that he needs could be in Ganon's tower. Piece of heart and a crystal. Okay, so at the very least, the small key is not in Ganon's tower. Assassin. Now, Goldfish is going to check Mire's shed, which, yeah, I believe the other sword was in here. It's gonna wish he did this first. It would have made Land Molas a little bit quicker for him, but oh well. Probably going to dip into Mire proper here, and we're going to see what's around in there. So there's quite a bit of checks that are actually pretty quick to do in Key Sanity here. I think Josh wanted to use that portal. I think he really wanted to use that portal. And that's one of the things about getting a hammer so late is there's certain things that you just forget you can't do. If you want to go to the Dark World, it's got to either be Mire area or you've got to start here. That's one of the things that's really tough about having Mitt's Dark World access is it really limits your options for how you route those Dark World checks. I'm imagining he's wanting to go to check the Bombos tablet and head into Swamp for some of those checks. You know, just in case that's where everything's hanging out. Unfortunately, that's it's a really long trip for him here because he doesn't have that hammer to take the front door. He's got to go all the way around back. Magic cape showing up in the spike chest there. Meanwhile, Josh showing us what's on the Bombos tablet in just a sec here. While Goldfish makes his way through Misery Mire. We've got to be seeing that hammer show up at some point here. And there it is. So hammer is in Misery Mire, which is not great for Josh here, because that's definitely not where Josh is going right now. Yeah, so it looks pretty good for Goldfish. However, that does mean that he's going to have a lot to check here with that hammer before he's forced to go into the escape sequence to find that ice rod. So he could end up being in an ice rod hunt. So, you know, it's a little bit up in the air. Definitely a good find there, especially since we see Josh heading into Swamp Palace without the hammer. So that means he can really only dip his toe in. So that's the one check, and this is really the only other check that you can do without the hammer. Hey, it's the small key to Desert Palace that he needed, so that kind of worked out. So now that might point him to go over Finish Desert and check Mire, rather than the other scary possibility, which would have been that he was going to go dip Ice Palace after this. I would expect to see him go to Desert and do Mire next. If he doesn't do that, then it's a pretty large misplay on his part. Yeah, once you get that key, it's like, okay, well, I may as well finish the dungeon and go into another one where I can get 7 items. Unfortunately, it does look like hammer was the only thing that was there in Misery Mire. So that's a bit of a large time investment. It's a good item, but, you know. So with that hammer, now Goldfish here can actually go and clear Swamp, which is what I imagine he's going to go do now. Also will be able to clear Ice Palace. And I imagine somewhere in there we're going to see the boots show up. So I wasn't quite paying attention. I don't know if Josh is all good on keys yet, or if he still has to get another pod small. But that's definitely one thing that's off the table. He did find that desert small, and is going to be finding that hammer at some point soon. I also don't think there is any real possibility here for anything super important to be in GT anymore. Because the last items that we absolutely need, we need the Kingdom of Samaria, and we need a bow. And I'm pretty sure that's about it. Neither of those things can be in Ganon's tower. Josh didn't go to Misery Mire. It's a little bit worrying for any Josh fans out there. Not the smoothest of moves for sure. Yeah, I guess he just must have just realized that he forgot to he never turned that in earlier. Looks like he's going to go dip ice. That's probably not the smartest play. Since the smartest play would be the one that gets you the hammer. Because there is the Cane of Samaria. Ooh, Goldfish is in a really good spot here. He can just start chaining these dungeons together. And now all he really needs is the bow and he needs the ice rod yet, but if the bow doesn't show up soon, chances are pretty decent that he ends up checking the escape sequence for them. But yes, it isn't a good look for Josh. He's just putting off Misery Mire, which would make a lot of sense if this weren't Key Sanity, but since it is, there's a lot of stuff that could be hiding around in that mire. There isn't. There's only a hammer, but it's a very important find. There's the half magic. It's a consolation prize. And the real issue here is for Josh is this is going to be a deep dive if he's really going to commit to getting everything in ice that he can. Because yeah, you can actually get quite a bit of ice without the hammer, but without the cane, it's just going to be slow and not the hammer for him. Tower of Hair is small. That could be a bow in that basement there. I'm gonna see if Josh can, if Josh takes too long on this bomb jump here, this is just sort of, he's throwing even more time away here. He got it, and then he took a spill voluntarily. All right, he gets it. Meanwhile, only a couple checks left in Swamp for Goldfish. And he's gonna be sitting pretty after he finishes Swamp here. Because Josh has got, I mean, like, Josh can, you know, skip a lot of these checks in ice when he finally goes to do it later, but it's not really going to be worth it. Yeah, he can't do anything up here. So yeah, if you don't have the cane, that hammer really does lock quite a few chests away. It's going to be about half of the chests, give or take. Meanwhile, a very nice quick kill by Goldfish on Argus there. The last medallion, the one we don't need, and the final pendant. So that's going to be a possibility of a ped check. And now I wonder if we're going to see Goldfish go ahead and clear Ice Palace. I would imagine that makes a little bit of sense here. Okay, guess not. He's, oh yeah, he is. It's just faster to do this. Silly me. But yeah, you find the hammer, and then you go to Swamp and you find the Cane of Samaria, and I was like, okay, well then you do go do Ice, because it's going to be super quick now. So Goldfish is actually going to be dangerously close to Josh's heels. As he's exiting, because he's going to be able to actually finish this dungeon. Josh is not. This is the last thing Josh can get. Josh is done. And he's really just got to go check Meyer. Oh, wow. I did miss that Goldfish did find a bow in Left Side Swamp. So, yeah, that's he needs the Ice Rod, but that's go mode. On the other hand, since he does have that, he's probably going to be putting that off for a little bit. But after putting out all of that, putting Meyer off for so long, Josh has got a lot of ground to make up. So Josh has really got to hope that Goldfish last location's that Ice Rod. He's struggling a little bit with the icebreaker there. There he is. He got it. He's got it. That can be a deceptively tricky tricky maneuver when you see somebody do it well. It looks pretty effortless, but it's pretty precise. If you don't have consistency with getting that lineup right, you can eat a little bit of time. Definitely, that is something that Goldfish has a lot to spare right now, though. So I imagine once Josh finds the hammer, the obvious things to go do are probably going to be exactly what Goldfish did, and go straight to Swamp, and then you might decide to do something other than finish Ice. But yeah, it's not really much. I mean, I suppose Josh could decide to go to Turtle Rock instead of Ice. But if he full clears Swamp, he's gonna actually be in go mode, so probably would just clear all the dungeons and just, get out of there. So if Swamp isn't the absolute next thing that Josh does after this, he's really losing time, because all he really has to do to get go mode now is go and clear Swamp, get that bow, and get out of there. And there we have Goldfish dropping down into the Cold Stare fight. Not going to be too terribly difficult. Has that half magic, has that fire rod, has the tempered sword. As Josh is just barely clearing out Misery Mire. The Cold Stare fight got a little bit hairy, but he manages to clean it out in the end. Picks up his 20 rupees and his crystal. And so I imagine Goldfish is now going to just sort of start clearing the rest of the dungeons. Going to go do Pod and Eastern. Shouldn't take too long since we've dipped both of those already. But it's really going to be down to where he goes after that. Because Josh is kind of on a timer here. He's got to get everything here done before Goldfish decides to go check the escape sequence and gets that ice rod. Best case scenario, Goldfish concludes that the ice rod must be in Turtle Rock, which is a decent assumption, given how many TR Smalls we've found, and how many checks are available in that dungeon. But if he decides to play it safe and decides to clear out the overworld first, then he's gonna run into that ice rod first. So Josh is going to make up some time here in Ice Palace. He's going to be able to just sort of go down, clean up the chests he didn't get by doing the Icebreaker, and kind of clear it out. Not quite as... well, no. Well, yeah, he is. He is going to be able to... no, he's not going to be able to do that because he didn't go to Swamp first. Oof. Yeah, that's... I mean, like, at least he's gonna be able to finish it, but yeah, I'm not sure what possessed him to put all of his eggs in the Ice Palace basket again. You know, he could be hoping that the Cane of Samaria is in here, because if it's not, then it's like, okay, well, yeah, I guess my opponent probably got it. Yeah, I mean, Josh is losing a little bit of time here. He could have saved I mean, he could have at least matched Goldfish's clear on Ice Palace, but now he's spending probably more than twice as much time total in Ice Palace, which is just not ideal, I think one could say. At least he gets the bomb jump first try. That was well done. Meanwhile, Goldfish steadily making his way towards that Helmasaur King. And then it's going to be a quick clear of Eastern Palace, and then he's going to have to decide where he's going to hunt for that Ice Rod. Well, I guess he's probably gonna hunt for it first in the back of Thieves Town, which I guess we really hope Josh doesn't decide to do next. We can full clear it now with the... well, actually, can we? We may still be missing that Thieves Town Big. I can't remember if we saw Thieves Town Big. I want to say we saw no Thieves Town Big. Have we seen Turtle Rock Big? I thought we saw Turtle Rock big. But yeah, those keys are, we're actually a remarkably small number of keys away from go mode here. True go mode. It's kind of a rare case where we don't end up too locked by keys, really. Most of the keys that we needed were relatively forthcoming. And part of that was in part due to the fact that Hammer was buried deep in mire. So that kind of reduced our options until we kind of found all the rest of the keys anyway. Goldfish here, going to go. Not gonna bother with that hammer jump again. Well, maybe he will after he picks up the Harmless Hellway box here. Oh, it's the Ice Palace big key. That's something that's going to come in handy for both of these runners, I'm sure. So that's at the very least a clear for Josh of Ice Palace there, but unfortunately didn't get the Cane of Samaria first. So it cost him a little bit more time than it really had to. He's really hoping for Goldfish to spend a while before getting to that Ice Rod. I don't like this amount of deliberation, Josh. You know you've got to go to Swamp Palace. Oh no, he's going to do Turtle Rock. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but at least this one he can clear. Oh yeah, Josh can't do TR because he doesn't have the Cane of Samaria. Ooh, yeah, he must be banking on Tower of Hera small, or the vanilla big key chest, which I would say is wholly inadvisable when you can clear all of Swamp Palace. Yeah, it's really perplexing. There must be some reason he's avoiding swamp like this. Either that or he thinks he's lost time and is making riskier plays than he needs to, but he seems to have changed his mind about the Hera basement. Probably gonna go for Spike Cave now. He definitely looks like he's trying to make a big play with long shots here, but I'm not sure it's a wise strategy because all this time we've got Goldfish here just making moves. I mean, about the only thing this could be that would really help him would be if he somehow pulled Goldfish's Ice Rod out of his Spike Cave chest, and so then Goldfish couldn't get it at all. But that didn't happen. If that had happened, that would have been a win for Josh, but yeah, I don't think that's something you want to rely on happening. He's got to be going to Swamp now. Yeah, I can't help but think it just had a lot to do with deciding to do Swamp and then deciding to do Ice Palace after instead of Mire. and then going in and finding the hammer sitting in mire, then that can he's not even going to swamp. He's where is he going? Is he going? Where are you going, Josh? Is he going to catfish? I don't think Josh... Yeah, Josh didn't do catfish. Yeah, he's going up to catfish. Yeah, he's really putting a lot of emphasis on these little one-off checks. Yeah, I almost there has to be some reason that he's not going to swamp. Yeah, in general, I feel like Goldfish has just made checks more efficiently on top of the routing decisions here, because he didn't steal the key earlier, but has to come back to clear mire anyway, and now he's found that desert small, so he can check this, find that it's nothing, and sort of move on with his day. And then, by contrast, when Josh finally got his Desert Small and was able to clear it, he didn't even combine it into mire to find the hammer, which is exactly what he would have needed to do at that point. So, yeah, now he's got to be going to swamp. It might just be too little too late here, because he's gonna really need that that ice rod to take Goldfish a really long time to find. Really, the only hope now is to hope that that Goldfish goes for the TR play after doing this, which again would kind of be a little inadvisable since we still need to find that Thieves Town Big. So you're probably going to want to look for that in the overworld before you really bank on Turtle Rock having it. Swamp Small we found a long time ago in the big chest of Eastern Palace. And Josh knows he has it because he went and he checked the front of Swamp Palace already before he found the hammer. Meanwhile, Goldfish here, maybe going to have a little bit of trouble here in this dark room in Misery Mire. This is not a trivial dark room. He found the switch, but it's not held down. He gets it. Okay, that's one dark room down, probably the hardest one. Now, I'm curious to see what Josh does after he finds the cane, and hopefully he keeps going and finds the bow here. It does left side, doesn't skip it. Well, once he has those things, does he continue to double down on single one-off checks like he's been doing? Or does he go straight up to Turtle Rock? Because it's kind of been staring him in the face for a while. Now that he has that King of Samaria that he knows now has been available for quite some time, he can go do it. If he banks that the Thieves Town Big Key is up there, and it is, then that could potentially be a point in his favor for maybe making up some of this lost time that he's unfortunately lost. The good news for Josh is he is going over and doing left side. Bad news is it's going to be, you know, almost a last location for that bow. All right, Goldfish going to the witch's hut, stocking up on some potions. And where is he about to go? Link's house? Is he going to go for the... Yeah, it looks like he's going for escape. So this is probably not a good sign here for Josh. Because the one thing he needed was for this ice rod to take Goldfish a long time to find. And unfortunately, as soon as it becomes kind of the next thing he has to find, he's going to end up finding it. And here it is. Goldfish is about to roll up on that ice rod now. Probably gonna go for Zelda's Cell, just for good measure. Still need to find that Thieves Town Big Key, but at this point, we're probably looking at it sitting there in Turtle Rock. And now just heading back to the back of Escape to check Dark Cross as Josh is finishing off this boss here. And then is going to have to go through and do Eastern and Pod as well, which is going to eat up a lot of time that it would be really nice if he didn't have to do. You know, chances we need to find the boots at some point. Logically, we're probably going to have to find the boots in TR, because I don't think any of the boots locked stuff was necessary for anything that we needed. The boots can't be on Magic Bat because Powder is on Lumberjack. And boots also lock the lamp, but I don't think we needed the lamp for anything we needed to get the hammer. So yeah, we have Goldfish going up Aga's tower without the lamp. You know, I'm not sure. He maybe has given himself some time to think. Otherwise, there's really not much of a reason to put this off, because again, in faux AD keys, you can just sort of treat it as non-key sanity and just do it the way you would in usual all dungeons. Just do it after Aga 2. Because he's definitely not going to find anything new here. Plus, he has to do Dark Aga. May as well give yourself a chance to find the lamp first, or the boots first. Or maybe he's just sort of given up on that lamp. He's like, I'm not going to desert for that lamp anyway. May as well just do it now. Either way, he's definitely quite a bit ahead of Josh here. And he does have the fire rod to light those torches, get himself through safe and sound. Yeah, both of our runners have checked the green pendant. There's really not much that's left on the table at this point. Really, the only thing we need to find is the Thieves Town Big. So we got our GT Smalls and GT Big pretty quickly. We've gotten all of our pendants, so nothing else we need is in GT. Not even the boots can be in GT because the lamp is locked by them. Oh no, Josh, you don't have a small key. You can't open that door, Josh. Oh, he did open it. Never mind. I thought he was like somehow didn't have one and forgot he couldn't open it. But no, he just opened it and then couldn't find it afterwards. Which makes sense. It is a palace full entirely with darkness. For a second there, I was very worried that Josh had not found that extra key he needed, but that would have been insulting. That would have added much insult to a grave injury. Then he's got a painfully long walk through Eastern Palace. And then I guess he just goes up the mountain, right? And does Turtle Rock right around, probably shortly after Goldfish here. So he's just about done with Aga. Yeah, our other 5-6 is Turtle Rock. Not that it's particularly important at this point. We've got everything we need, except for that Thieves Town Big. So either way, it's looking like we gotta go to Turtle Rock to get finish Thieves Town. And chances are pretty decent that we're going to see the boots show up insultingly in Turtle Rock here. The quote-unquote intended logic of this seed is something else. And Goldfish heads into Turtle Rock right around 150.25. Gonna be well ahead of Josh. Josh following up the mountain. And the real sad thing here for Josh is Goldfish has already done AGA 1 as well. So not only does he have that lead going into Turtle Rock, but all of they're the boots right there at the front of Turtle Rock. But he has all of that time from AGA 1 ahead of him, and that was a fairly lengthy AGA 1 fight. I didn't count the blue balls on that one, but it seemed like every time I glanced over there, he was shooting out some more. So it's not looking good here for Josh. I think I will say that. Yeah, somewhat interestingly, it looks okay. Yeah, so he is going to go and pick up that lamp. If Josh could gain some time here, especially since that guard is bullying Goldfish quite a bit here. Oh, Josh, what do you need in here? What do you need that's in here? I mean, if this is the silvers, that could help, I guess. If it comes down to that, but so sort of giving up some free time that he maybe could have taken advantage of if he was more comfortable in his dark rooms. If he'd gone straight to TR, he could have at least pulled ahead in the TR race, but now that's not going to be happening. It also could have been the TR small. I don't think we saw that one, or I don't think Goldfish checked Hera small. And Goldfish is going to be back into Turtle Rock before Josh even gets there. I would be amazed if Josh went and got that lamp. I can't imagine that he's feeling like he has the time to do that. After you know, last locationing the whole entire dungeon route, he kind of took the wrong pick at every available turn. He's really just got to kind of hope that he can clutch out those dark rooms and that it doesn't matter too much. All right. Well, Goldfish takes a death there and chain chomps. That's something. It's a start for Josh. It takes another hit. That's size to go. Oh, he gets hit again. Okay. Well, I mean, if that keeps up, that's. I mean, he's still got that massive lead because again, he's got all of Aghanim's tower done as well. And you know, Josh is gonna have to do that as well, and probably again without the lamp. Finally, Goldfish manages to outsmart the chain chomps there. And he is through. Probably going to be checking Lava Chest. We do still need the Thieves Town Big. Ah, and Josh is going right ahead. He's going to go pick up that lamp as well. No, he's not. He's going to, Wait, what is he picking up? Oh, no. Josh is picking up the lamp. Goldfish just went and checked that big key. I kind of forgot which one was where. Swamp Palace Big. That could be a nasty logic chain there. Goldfish takes another death to a rebounding pokey segment, however you like to call those things. Big old bouncing ball. I am not sure what Josh is doing down here. I don't know if did he leave anything on the table here in Mire? He did. He's got 7 out of 8. Oh, did he not finish Mire? He probably didn't even finish Misery Mire, so he's got to go do it. Yeah, Goldfish is losing time here in TR, but it's really just emphasizing what a massive lead that he kind of had after Josh kind of blundered his dungeon routing. Now, I don't recall if we checked Skullwood's big chest. I feel like at least one of the runners had the big key before getting in there. Only still no Thieves Town big, and only a couple checks left in. Well, no, never mind. We haven't done Laser Bridge. About half the checks left in Turtle Rock. Close to the end, but most of the checks are still waiting for us. And Goldfish not needing the lamp in this dark room. Dark room is actually pretty easy without it. The amount of options you have are fairly limited, seeing as you're literally on rails. And here we go, Laser Bridge. This is our second to last chance to get the Thieves Town big in a timely manner. Unfortunately for Josh, Goldfish decides to take the safety door. If he didn't, there was a possibility that he would lose even more time, but now the time loss is going to be minimal at best. Takes the hit. Doesn't matter, he got that safety exit. He's got one more chest to look into, and then it's just off to Trinex. And then probably just double, if he doesn't get the key by then, just double dipping some of the other dungeons to open up the big chests. Oh, Skullwood's big key was the one in the library. Okay, so yeah, if it's not on Trinex here, it's in one of those big chests. Or on Pyramid Fairy, since I think, yeah, Turtle Rock is our other 5-6. Either way, it's very much looking like going to Turtle Rock was 100% necessary. First two phases down, now we're just on the last Turtle Rock head. This shouldn't be too big of an issue. We've got that Tempered Sword. And yeah, now Goldfish just has to clean everything else up if Big Key is not delivered to him from on high right now. And there it is. So yeah, that is officially go mode for Goldfish. Just has to clean up Thieves Town and then just up Ganon's Tower, and that's it. I will say this is probably a bridge too far for Josh. So now chances are like Josh isn't gonna find really any hope of finding like silvers or anything that could hope to make a difference if things suddenly go south for Goldfish here. This is it's kind of a nasty spot for this race to go in. It is kind of a shame too, because Josh is having a much better Turtle Rock than Goldfish did so far. I'm about halfway done with Thieves Town here. And Josh is reaching about the halfway point of Turtle Rock. And in retrospect, it's kind of a cruel joke that the Thieves Town big key is just sitting at the end, because Josh is now going to kind of have to check every chest along the way just in case. And that's blind just about done. As we get our second mail upgrade, that's gonna probably help a little bit in letting Goldfish be maybe a little reckless even in Ganon's tower. Probably not gonna be taking too many deaths there now. And Josh just about here at Laser Bridge. Not taking the safety door. Taking it pretty slow here in the on Laser Bridge, but about it. I would say roughly a dungeon and a half behind here, because Goldfish just about to make the climb. Well, 2 dungeons and a half, because again, there's Aga's Tower, which Goldfish has already completed. Josh entering Trinex, probably going to finish it just as a little bit after Goldfish makes his way into Ganon's tower, starts the climb. There's no basement tonight. We're going to be seeing him go straight up the tower, because we've already got all the small keys we need. We've got the big key. Big key was actually, I think, was it the sanctuary chest? It was a very early check, but it was one of the first things we saw. The silver arrows are probably down in the basement, but it's not really worth it. Not when you can go straight up. At the end of a long seed like this, you never know where your opponent is. And there's that big key Josh was looking for. Gonna have to take that down to Thieves Town now, as Goldfish clears out Mimic Room number 1 onto number 2. And going to be well on his way upstairs. Yeah, it looks like Goldfish is going to be just around on Landmos 2 as Josh is entering Thieves Town here. It's gonna be interesting when all is said and done to see just how far apart these two runners are. You know, there's still a chance that some things could happen to Goldfish before the end of this seed, but it's really a mountain for Josh to climb right now. All right, approaching the end of the climb here. We've got just a handful of rooms left. He's playing a little dangerous there with his fire there. Might not be quick enough here. Not just about. Not going to risk that despawn there the rest of the tower. Meanwhile, Josh picking up blind here in the cell. And Goldfish is being pretty thorough picking up all of these chests, not getting the silvers out of it though. Takes a fall to Moldorm. Yeah, so it's looking like Goldfish probably going to be around Aga 2, maybe dropping into Ganon fight by the time Josh is heading up the tower. There's 2 more rooms left. And that's Josh's final crystal, and again, he's got a, if you'll pardon the pun, he's got a mountain to climb here. Not just, doesn't just have to climb the mountain, but he has to climb Ganon's tower, and he's got to climb Aghanim's tower. And at this point, all the Goldfish really is going to have to do, finish off Aga 2, and then drop down and beat the pig. Gets 2 hits on that last cycle. And is just one boss away from victory here. He is going to have to do the Silverless fight, which it definitely opens the door for some shenanigans. Unfortunately, you know, Josh is going to have to deal with the same thing. But you know, if Josh's execution is good for the rest of the game, and Goldfish really drops the ball here on the Silverless fight, he's gonna have to do that a couple times though. And Goldfish definitely has the potions for this. If he plays his cards right, he's gonna have a pretty decent time. Probably not gonna die here. And that's halfway through phase 3 as Josh is entering Ganon's tower. And as we all kind of guessed at this point, yeah, the arrows are somewhere in the basement. Yeah, they're very nicely done on those spins. This is definitely practiced. Ooh, he takes a fall there. You gotta watch out for the bat. Especially when you see Ganon on the bottom and you gotta light the torch. You gotta make sure you're watching that bat's trajectory. I think he's still alright. I think he still has a blue potion. Yeah, he does. I wonder what he's going for there. I wonder if he's planning on doing some kind of refill here. He get 2 mirror bonks in a row. Meanwhile, Josh is climbing the tower. He's about halfway through the gauntlet. No, he just started the gauntlet. Yeah, looks like Goldfish is leaving nothing to chance here. He's going to go to the get another potion. Probably 2 of them at this point. Yeah. Maybe 3. Yeah, he might have 3 bottles. It's kind of hard to read on the restream here. But yeah, that's definitely the kind of situation. You know, you take a fall late on Silverless Ganon. Yeah, you know, you've got a choice. You can either try to make sure that the next chance you don't fail, take a little extra time, or dive right back in, risking sort of a loop. Either one would have been pretty defensible, because again, you never know how far behind your opponent is, as we see Josh just finishing off Landmos 2. All right, round 2. And with those potions firmly in hand, there's nothing stopping him from just using that cave to its utmost capacity here. Meanwhile, Josh has been making pretty good time on the Ganon's tower climb. He's probably gonna have a little bit easier time with Aga's tower with that lamp, but Again, unless Goldfish falls a couple more times here, it's really not going to come to much. Ooh, doesn't get the torch glitch. Oh, almost takes another fall there. He kind of looks like he did that one on purpose. Okay, well, I guess round 3 is coming in. Luckily, unlike these matches sets, these don't operate on a best 2 out of 3, which obviously in this point would have been a win for Ganon. But that being said, a win here from Goldfish would only put his team up, 1 in this. I believe this is going to be game 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously, Deadly Case of Explosions here took game 1, earning those 3 points. Unless I'm making a mistake because we're in week 2, as I now realize. Either way, we've got dual bosses here. And hopefully 3rd time's a charm here for Goldfish. Has to burn that potion. It's alright, he's still got 2 more. And Josh has taken at least 1 extra cycle here on Aga too. Yeah, just had 1 more hit. Misses the torch glitch again. It's gonna kind of limit how fast he can really chain these silverless hits together. Josh entering Aga's tower. Goldfish has just a couple more hits left. You're definitely being careful when Ganon goes invisible there. When you've got to light those torches, you got to stand at the edge, and that's exactly where you don't want to get caught off guard. And that's it. It's the last hit. And Goldfish just has to cross that bridge. So get your GGs ready in chat. And that is going to be Goldfish with a final time of 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 28 seconds. Taking the win here for Pepega Patrol in week 2. Yeah, this was a pretty awful seed, especially for runners who may not have had the best darkroom knowledge, just because of how stupid that lamp position was behind the boots that were in GT. That was a logically required double dip for Meyer, Turtle Rock. Yeah, it was pretty rough. But anyway, we've got Goldfish here.
Hello.
Goldfish.
I played like utter trash.
That
got through it.
Yeah, that Ganon fight was he definitely had you the first time and the second time. But man,
Ganon, Skull Woods, TR.
yeah, and I mean, it's a 2.5 hour seed. It's not out of the question for a key sanity, but it's still kind of a marathon of a seed. But so what sort of what other thoughts did you have about this seed? What were you happy to see?
I don't know. Like the Moon Pearl was nice. I didn't have to go to Eastern yet. Now, of course, I eventually Eastern dipped without the bow, but it just felt like there's a lot of things where they could have come a lot sooner.
Yeah, I think the obvious one was the hammer and mire. Near the start of the seed, I noticed that we had the glove and the flute fairly early on. And I was like, okay, well, we're just one more glove away from access to the mire area. And then we got the glove, and then Quake showed up early on in Thieves Town. It's like, okay, well, there's a key sanity mire, which is a pretty dense area, and even for that, every dense area only had 1 or 2 items. I mean, even Swamp had 2, but nothing in
Yeah.
pod.
Yeah. Well, I got that hook shot off a pyramid. And I figured I'd still go to pod, but I was thinking that gives me access to Death Mountain. That'll probably give me a bow and a hammer, and I'll just start clearing dungeons and find go mode. And just got nothing.
You're right. Yeah. Well, here we've got Josh is getting here through the Ganon fight. I don't know if we're gonna have much time for an interview with him, but I guess I'll spoil a little bit of what put him so far behind was kind of banking on everything but the right thing. Put off Mire for a really long time, and then put off Swamp for a really long time. Ended up double dipping into Ice Palace and finishing it before getting the cane, which was pretty painful.
But I think he mentioned in the race room that he went to grab the lamp.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to do when you went to check the library key.
No, I was just hoping that was Thieves' big key. I could just go mode TR.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, it's a 1 in 3. If it is there, I save a ton of time. If it's not, I lose time. So.
Yeah, I mean, at least it showed up at the end, and you didn't have to go cleaning up big chests.
Yeah, that was really scary when I got the other big key in TR, and I'm just sitting there. It's like, well, the one I need is the one I don't have.
Yeah, but other than that Thieves Town big key, this actually wasn't too bad as key sanity goes in terms of keys locking you out of things.
Yeah, the keys weren't terrible. It was the items.
Right, and it was partially because of the items were so bad that, you kind of ended up getting all the keys just looking for the hammer.
Yeah, because at the end there, I needed Thieves' big key, Ice Rod, Hammer, Bow, and Samaria. I was like, items.
Now, I'm one thing I'm a little bit curious about. What was behind your decision to go early into Aga 1?
What do you mean early?
I mean, you rather than just doing it after Ganon's Tower, as would sort of be usual in all dungeons.
I was there, and it's like it wasn't really going to get any faster. I already had Tempered Sword, Fire Rod.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really cost you any time, and it definitely definitely made the ending look a fair bit more hopeless for Josh, as we all knew that he's got to do Aga 1 afterwards too. But he's actually kept it pretty close. He's about to finish Ganon, I believe.
Yeah, I kind of planned that when I was like clearing dungeons. Like, I can, if I don't have progression, I can do the checks and escape, and then just mirror and do Aga, because I have to do that anyways.
Yeah, and that was a little bit unfortunate for Josh too, because that was the one thing he had up on you, is he'd checked escape already.
Yeah, and had
gotten that ice rod, and so it's like, okay, the only hope is for it to take you a long time to get around to it. And there we go, GG's for Josh. Just over 2.5 hours there with a 2:30:54 on racetime.gg. Honk indeed. Yeah, so it looks like we have got Josh here in the waiting room. We'll see if we can't pull him into the interview room here for a little bit of a chat. A little deep breath after that marathon seed there. And here we are joined by Josh. GG's, Josh.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, way to hang in there, both of you, at this seed. It was kind of a doozy around the coming up on the 2-hour mark. We were really getting a taste of just how nasty some of the item placement was in it.
Yeah, and I have absolutely no prior key sanity experience prior to this, so that wasn't good.
Yeah, so that actually explains maybe quite a bit. Like, did that factor into how long you put Meyer off?
That, and I was thinking, because I didn't have boots for the whole game. Here's another problem. I don't know Dark Meyer and Dark TR. If I knew Dark Meyer and Dark TR, things probably would have gone a little bit better for me tonight.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but it really started to go off the rails for you when you just did everything except for Meyer, because we saw Goldfish doing Meyer a little bit ahead of when you sort of had a good opportunity to swing by there.
Yeah.
And then when it was really when you didn't go in there after Desert, after finally finishing Desert, that it really started to go off the rails.
Oh yeah, I mean, I expected to lose, but I was expecting to lose by more like a half an hour, or like being more than a half an hour out and forfeiting.
I mean, I definitely left half an hour out on that seed, but I leave a lot of time on many seeds.
Yeah, so disappointed but not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, decent showing for no prior key sanity experience, because key sanity can throw a lot of loops in there.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that did help was I did get quite a few pod smalls to start, so that at least, because whenever I was like, I mean, I practiced like in the Z3R sim. I wish they had FAD keys, but so I was practicing the 80 keys sim in there, and like pod key stuff would always just like confuse the crap out of me. So yeah, I mean, that wasn't as much of a problem, but there were plenty of other problems like the stupid hammer and Meyer, so that really got me good.
Yeah, and then it was a little bit painful to watch too, because Goldfish had gone straight into Swamp after Meyer, and was rewarded with almost go mode as far as he was concerned, and then you decided to just not
Where'd you
put
go
your
after
eggs in
Meyer?
that basket.
What else would you do with that hammer?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really play this seed very well, given
Yeah, went to
my
ice
ability.
Finish that off afterwards.
That was a big mistake. I can't
Okay.
believe I went to ice over Meyer. Big mistake. So
I mean,
that's kind of an
I
issue
could clear
there.
Desert and then go right back into Meyer, and it's like, well, if I find Samari, I could beat it. If not, it's a lot of checks. What is it?
It's 8.
8?
7 without the cane.
Yes.
But,
Yeah,
7
so
without Eddie.
that was a big mistake on my part. I do want to say the this is kind of unrelated. I want to say thanks to High Ruler for joining our team under some pretty not so great circumstances. So big ups. I know he's racing right now. He threw him straight into the fire.
Yeah.
I wanted to say thanks for him for joining. I want to clarify that with the infraction that I was not really aware of what was going on. And would like to state that, I am an honest racer and would not act on that knowledge, even if I had really realized what was going on.
All right. Well, I think that's going to just about do it for us tonight. It's been a long night, long race. GG's to both of you guys for sticking it in there, and
Yep.
yeah,
Well, have a
thanks.
good night. Thanks for watching, folks. Thanks to our comms and crew. Hope you all have a great night and keep watching the rest of the streams that come up for people. Maybe you'll catch me on comms at some point if I have some time. But yeah, thanks for having us.